Do you ever get those days where you come home from work, let out a big sigh, and just say to yourself, I'm going to kill myself? To which your significant other, roommate, dog, or whoever just gives you this half concerned, half understanding look. Or when you make a seemingly small mistake, such as forgetting milk at the grocery store, and you say to yourself, I'm going to shoot myself. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely guilty of this. Every once in a while, I'll stop and think to myself, does this make me a bad person? Is this inappropriate? Logic deems that, yeah, you probably shouldn't joke about things like that. Suicide isn't a lighthearted topic. Globally, over 800,000 people commit suicide every year, and it's the second leading cause of death in people between the ages of 10 and 24. However, people are making jokes and memes about suicide, mental illness, depression, and other serious topics. Now, why would they do such a thing, you might wonder? Dark jokes and memes may seem inappropriate for some people. There are actually many who support this type of humor since it could help people experiencing mental disorders cope with their thoughts or feelings. Now, before we jump right into why dark memes shouldn't be looked down upon, we need to establish the different categories of humor. First off, we have affiliative humor, which would be the jokes that people tell to connect with others and to make them laugh. For example, what's red, white, and black all over? A zebra with a sunburn. Second, we have aggressive humor, which is exactly what it sounds. It's jokes that come at someone else's expense. They tease someone about their insecurities. They could be racist, sexist, etc., things like that. Now, the final category is self-defeating humor, which are jokes that someone makes fun of themselves to the point where they just put themselves down. Now, there's nothing wrong with laughing at yourself every once in a while, but not to the point of putting yourself down, which is obviously not healthy at all. We also need to cover how a joke is framed. Does a joke make fun of the person, or does it make fun of the situation they're going through? There's a big difference between a joke making fun of a person for having a mental illness versus a joke making fun of what they're experiencing. It's okay to make jokes about what people are going through since it's temporary, and many often can connect with them since they have experienced similar things. Not to mention, framing mental illness as an inherent and permanent state makes people feel worse and can worsen the stigma. Disclosure is going to be the key element. It's the most important factor because it's more respectful and acceptable to make jokes when the audience realizes that you aren't an outsider and you find the things you experienced funny. Now, for the purposes of this speech, I'm only advocating for affiliative humor and jokes that are framed at someone's temporary situation. Yes, the other jokes do exist, but any logical human being can see the problem behind them and immediately recognize that they are not healthy. The jokes I am referring to here are in the gray area, but I ask you to keep an open mind throughout this while I go over the benefits these jokes may have for some people. Now, although to an outsider, jokes and memes about mental illness may seem wildly inappropriate, they are a valid way of coping with symptoms. It helps people realize that it's okay to have a mental illness and get over to get over the shame that they might feel. In the article I was reading, written by Rewire magazine, it was found that people posting memes about mental illness are already experiencing symptoms, and that this is just a way for them to express what they're already feeling. So these do not promote depression, they help people who already have it express themselves. They find supportive communities on the internet of like-minded people, and I can't emphasize this enough, that that's a very comforting feeling when battling with symptoms of mental illness, depression, suicide, things like that. There's an amazing quote in the article, and essentially it just mentioned that sharing memes can be a form of communication in and of itself, um, that it could be a form of communication in and of itself, especially when you wouldn't have the guts to type out the words to a friend. Humor makes people more comfortable talking about deeper things when they can't express how they're feeling with words or just plain language. It's much easier to show a friend a picture of something that they're going through and then laugh about it and talk about it rather than just bringing it up in a normal, casual conversation. Although memes may seem silly to some people and just some strange things teenagers do, they're a very overlooked medium of communication that needs to be taken a lot more seriously. There was a study done. A group of over 200 people, both depressed and not depressed, were shown neutral and depressive memes and then rated them on categories such as humor, relatability, shareability, and mood improving potential. So after the data was collected and compiled, the results showed that people who are better at controlling emotions had an easier time reducing negative thoughts while looking at these memes about depression. Essentially, they didn't enjoy the memes as much. Depressed people found them funny. Depressed people found them funny and would send them to others experiencing depression for them to laugh at as well. This goes to show that even though the content may not seem positive to most people, it can help people with depression, which is their outlet, so it makes sense. Depressed people struggle with cognitive reappraisal, so essentially they compare their thoughts and feelings to something that could have been worse. Seeing memes about depression can help them change a certain interpretation of an event and make them feel better about it. So for example, if in their past they went through some traumatic experience and then now they see a meme about it, it's going to help boost their spirits. It could potentially help boost their spirits and allow them to gain a different perspective like most normal people get it. When normal people experience cognitive reappraisal, when they are faced with something troubling, they try to think of positive thoughts to counteract that. But with depressed people, it's a little bit different, so these memes help with that. So essentially, this allows people to share difficult to express feelings in a simple manner that helps them feel less alone. Now, in conclusion, I just wanted to mention that to outsiders, these memes about mental illness may not look very appropriate and they're going to be pretty dark for the most part, but they are in fact helpful to people going through these things. These jokes don't promote depression or mental illness. Rather, they destigmatize it and allow people experiencing symptoms to find a sense of comfort and community with the people in similar situations. So, as I mentioned earlier, I hope you kept an open mind throughout this just to understand some of the benefits that this dark humor may have. So even though if it's not your type of thing, don't go around attacking people for liking this type of content or relating to this type of content, because most of the time they're going through it and it's really helping them out. So you have to keep that in consideration.